Are you ready for the 2018 budget? All right. Actually, there's very little changes from 2017, so I said I'll do more graphs because I think people like those. So if you want to shift seats over to the side, you can if you want. So 2018 budget, we're going to start really quickly by looking at the income side. And the income side, so this is a graph. It'll be the change in apportionment income that we received every year from 2003. And you see, every year we have a 13-year streak of increased apportionment giving by our churches. So thank you, churches. But I got an announcement too. 2016, I broke that streak. So we had a negative year. So for me, when I see a number like that, I like having the numbers in front of me. I like having the graphs in front of me because it says, what's up with that? You know, why did that happen? So our council on finance and administration, we've been talking about it, and we thought, well, what if we need to raise some extra money? And I said, I got an idea. What if I go into the sign making business? I can make your church a sign like this. Unless you have a hot dish or a donation or work here, no parking, no pew stealing. Welcome. I think that will cover the gap. But if it doesn't, we'll talk. Actually, quick update. We are up 10% this year through the month of May in apportionment giving. So thank you guys. So I hope that's a sign that things are going well in your churches. And I've seen some churches that have stepped out really in faith in their commitment. So that is cool. I'm going to go into some graphs now. This is my favorite graph of all time. How many of you guys were at this annual conference and remember that baby? So awesome. Yeah, so I thought, how has this graph grown up over the years? So I went ahead. What that graph was, it was our 5-year rolling average of the number of churches we close. And the thing I loved about it was that there was a big dip there. And I should almost go back to that because there was a big dip there. And that was about the time in the 90s when we froze the budget. And I thought, in my capitalistic mind, well, you freeze the budget, everybody does better. So anyway, so we froze the budget for a number of years. And so I expect that number to dip down. And here is what actually happened. There's that dip, and that's where that was left off, and now here we are. The number of churches closing has actually increased a little bit. And again, what's up with that? That's what a graph makes you think about. It makes you ask questions. So that was concerning, but then the neat thing was, we went and I thought, well, you can't just look at the closing rate or the death rate. You got to look, what about the birth rate? And so I went ahead and ran the numbers again. And there's that one. And that's the bottom one is the birth rate. And you can see some of the stuff that we've just started doing recently, that our birth rate was almost flat, below 1. So less than 1 new congregation per year we were starting. And now we're up to about 2 congregations per year we're starting. So that is a positive thing. But again, when you have a closing rate of around 4, there's a gap there. So that is the news. That is not so good. But here is the ones I really want to show. I asked, so all these questions came to me when I looked at those 2 graphs, and I thought to myself, how are we doing versus the rest of the denomination? So I asked the people over in Nashville, I said, can you send me all your data for all the conferences for the last 10 years, and so I can have fun with it. And so they did. I think I made up a real excuse, but anyway, here are the average worship attendance from 2006 through 2015, and you can see there's a black sheep in there. That is the Dakotas Conference. We don't quite fit in there, do we? All these ones, I'm going to drop off the rest of them and just show the top 5 or 10 or so. But anyway, that is cool. That of all the conferences, we are the only conference that has more people worshiping in our churches on average than we did in 2006. So very positive. Another positive one is church operating income. We have been focused for the last, since 2009, we want to see our churches prosper, we want to see our churches succeed, we want to see them healthy. And part of that is extra generosity in our churchgoers. And so I ran the numbers again, and there's the black sheep there, and we're second. And we're against the Texas conferences, and Texas is known for the Texas Foundation and all these other ones. So Dakota's is right up there with the Texas conferences. The other very important one, you can't leave out kids. Kids, look at Dakota's, we are about third or fourth there. And it's surprising. I don't want to do a survey or anything like that, but there's so many churches that I go to that say, hey, we have kids now that we never used to have. And that's exciting to see and to hear. So, and that testimony is then proved by the data. The number of churches, remember that graph that I showed, the church closings? And now here we are we're actually near the bottom in that area. There's other churches or conferences that have grown in the number of churches, or many are maybe right around 100%, but we have declined about 10% in the number of churches that we've had. So that is our big concern. And you've heard that throughout here. We need to raise up leaders. We need to multiply. That was a big stressing point. And so when we look at our budget, some of that needs to be reflected there. If that's what we want to do, if we want to multiply, if we want to grow leaders, we better put our money where our mouth is. And